You ready? Here we go.
Ready.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jay Campbell, and of course my partner, trusty partner in crime, Michael Jaco of the Optimized Tribe, and we have on with us tonight Zach Hubbard from GematriaEffectNews. And as we do on this show, we are going to go as deep as we possibly can, discussing why pro and college sports at the big time level are completely and totally fixed. Zach, man, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me back. Good to be here.
It's always awesome to have you. So, dude, this is your show. Obviously, we'll start with the Super Bowl. You've been telling a lot of people for a long time how it was going to go down. Michael made a bunch of money off of your predictions. So let's just start right there. Let's talk a little about obviously Tom Brady, and we'll go from that point.
Sure. So there were a lot of clues that it was in the bag for Tom Brady before the season began, and one of the most clear examples that will be easy for people to understand and go back and verify is to go back and look at the game between the Boston Red Sox, because of course Brady came from Boston, and the Tampa Bay Rays that was played on August 13th, 2020. That game had a wild score. It had a football-like score. The score was 17-8 in favor of the Rays. And I remember correctly, the Rays won their 14th straight game in Boston, if I'm not mistaken. But the score was 17-8, and if you measure from that game, August 13th, to the date of the Super Bowl, February 7th, 2021, it was 178 days later, like 17-8. And what's interesting about that number 178 is its relevance in light of what I teach about, which is gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, which comes from Kabbalah. Again, in Kabbalah's Book of Formation, it's stated that God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. And the word Kabbalah itself has a numerical value of 178. It also has a numerical value of 38, and the Super Bowl was on the 38th day of the year, February 7th. So Kabbalah connects to 178 and 38, and you have this 17-8 ritual 178 days before the Super Bowl. Also, in light of Brady being 43 years old, he earned the title GOAT, tying Jordan in Super Bowl 53 when he defeated the Rams by the numbers. For people who are new here, we called that Super Bowl dead on before the season began, Patriots over Rams. We had half of it right before the season began last year. We had the Chiefs winning Super Bowl 54 before the season began. In week 3, we thought it could be against the 49ers. Last year was tougher. But this year, before the season began, we thought it would be the Bucs over the Chiefs for all the symbolism. But Brady was 43 years old this year, and that's a special number because the term GOAT has gematria 43. Football also equals 43, as does Yale. And it's important that Yale and football and GOAT all equal 43, as does Florida, because American football is credited to Walter Camp, the Scottish Rite Freemason, who went to Yale. And if you look up the story, the night before the Super Bowl, there was a murder in Goatville next to Yale. It's an unsolved mystery right now. A student was murdered in the area code Goatville, right next to Yale. Look it up. It's been an ongoing story throughout the week as they try to solve the murder mystery. It's not hard to see what really happened. But again, GOAT equals 43 in what's the most simple cipher there is, just the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. G's the 7th letter, O's the 15th, A's the 1st, T's the 20th. You add it up, GOAT's 43. Now, GOAT stands for greatest of all time. And if you write out that with the same cipher, greatest of all time equals 188. And from Brady's 43rd birthday on August 3rd to the Super Bowl on February 7th was exactly 188 days later. So this is how simple it is to apply this knowledge of gematria and see what's really going on in the world of rig sports. And year after year, things are synced up this way with Brady. So for the greatest of all time ritual, as he becomes the quarterback to win 7 Super Bowls, helping him surpass Jordan. I don't know if you guys caught this, but the day before the Super Bowl, Jordan released a new Jordan brand sneaker in tribute to the Super Bowl, and he titled it number 12. So Jordan puts out a sneaker the day before the Super Bowl, number 12. And what number does Brady wear? So again, you can see that all of this stuff is orchestrated ritual. It's all mockery. And then the other thing is, this was the GOAT Bowl, Super Bowl 55. What's special about the number 55 is the word Satan equals 55. And the symbol for the Satanic Church is the Baphomet, which is half goat.
Right.
And so, again, just that most simple cipher, Satan equals 55, goat 43. 55 is the 10th triangular number. That means if you add 1 through 10 together, it equals 55. 55 is also the 10th Fibonacci number. And if you don't know the Fibonacci sequence, it's the real simple sequence where you just take two numbers, add them together, and then you get the next number. So it goes 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. 55 is the 10th Fibonacci number and the 10th triangular number. So this was Brady's 10th Super Bowl in Super Bowl 55. And he got his 7th win. And he got his 7th win in Tampa, Florida. And if you can believe it, in Gematria, Tampa, Florida equals 73. And again, this was Brady's 21st NFL season to start 2021. 73 is the 21st prime number. Brady, by holding the Chiefs to 9 points in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs came in with 64 points scored in Super Bowls. They scored 9 in the game, so they got to 73 total points scored in Super Bowls as Brady became 7-3. And since when can't the Chiefs score a touchdown?
Yeah.
And the game was exactly 7 months and 3 days after Brady's mom's birthday. If you want to look up her birthday, it's July 4th. She's born on the 4th of July like Tom Cruise. But 7 months and 3 days after her birthday, 2 weeks before the Super Bowl was played, I told people to watch for the Texas Tech-Kansas State college basketball game the night before the Super Bowl. Because every year we show how there's one college basketball game that'll clearly be connected to the Super Bowl, and every year it gives us the winner. And, I mean, we were already on Bucks, but the score was no surprise. The reason we knew to look for the Texas Tech-Kansas State game is because that's Patrick Mahomes' old school. He played at Texas Tech, and, of course, now he's on Kansas City, so playing Kansas State. But if you look at the box score for the Texas Tech-Kansas State game, Texas Tech scored 73 points the night before. And what's funny is Kansas State went down with 62 points. We'll talk about 62 in a moment, but just with regards to the 73 thing, again, Brady got to 7-3 in Tampa, Florida, which equals 73, 7 months and 3 days after his mom's birthday. The Edge won the Royal Rumble the weekend before, which was played in the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium. And the Edge was born in 73. He was considered the old man at the event, just like how the old man won the Super Bowl. And with regards to the man who was murdered in Goatville the night before next to Yale, all the headlines refer to him as a Yale grad. Yale grad in Gematria equals 73. And you can also look back a couple years ago, Giselle and Tom Brady did an interview for Vogue, and they were asked 73 questions. So all of these things are connected and foreshadowing what was coming in Brady's 21st season, because 73 is the 21st prime. Also, you can look up what they reported the game temperature was for the Super Bowl, and I'm not saying this was the real temperature, but they reported it as being 73 degrees as Brady went on to improve to 7-3. And they do this kind of stuff year after year. I mean, for the person out there who's new that thinks this is silly, again, pay attention to, if you look at ESPN's, their stat website, before football games are played, so often it'll show the betting line, the over and under, the spread, and it'll also show what the temperature is going to be for the games, for a lot of these games. And if you look, so often what they report as the temperature is what one of the two teams' records can become, and you'd be amazed at how often it follows that exact path. And they're putting it all on the screen. And I imagine they're just making up these temperatures, but they're just riddles right in plain sight for what the rigged outcomes of the games are going to be. And remember, there are people in this world who are part of the societies that are responsible for the rigging, and they know how to interpret the information that the casual fan does not. And again, go ahead.
So I'm going to blow you up even more. So being in the CIA, I was in Pakistan, and we had a guy get in the car and tell us that the games are rigged. They know who's going to win because over there they love cricket. Cricket is like our football to the Pakistanis and the English and so forth.
Right.
So so we get this and somehow it gets leaked in the press that the game's rigged. Then the Pakistanis go to like the Super Bowl of cricket, and they throw it's almost like they throw the game, and the coach comes out and says something about it, and then mysteriously commits suicide.
Right.
So his wife comes out and says that's BS. He would never commit suicide. A chief, like not a lawyer, but like police officer, chief head of police, whatever, comes in and says, "Oh yeah, I'm investigating this case. This is ridiculous. I can see so much here. It doesn't make sense, and we see some foul play here." So eventually, somebody gets paid off, and the wife goes, "Oh yeah, we believe now that he really did commit suicide." And the chief of police goes, "Yeah, we did the investigation, and he committed suicide." And then we go on and we continue with the betting because everybody forgets, even though it's been revealed that it's rigged, people don't care. It's crazy.
Indeed, they don't. People are focused on their own lives, and I mean, you just see that in their behavior, and money is the driving force for most people.
You're like, report, this is the way it's going to be, and they don't even care. It's like, no, it's going to turn out like this, and then they lose, and they still attack. It's crazy.
It is, and it's amazing that people continue to look to the mainstream media for information on anything, especially sports advice. I mean, you just got to be an idiot because all they do is continually put out the wrong information and the wrong picks. If you pay attention to what the experts say about sports outcomes, they are wrong, I'd say, about at least 2/3 of the time. At least 2/3. But yet people still go back to them for the source. And, year after year, they're selling people on the wrong pick. This year, the media was big. Before the Super Bowl, they were real big on a Packers and Bills Super Bowl, which was never going to happen. It was Brady and Mahomes all the way. And again, just beyond the Gematria, recall, after Brady beat the Rams in Super Bowl 53, Patrick Mahomes went on late night television. It might have been Stephen Colbert. It was one of the late night hosts, but he went on and he talked about how he just had a conversation with Brady. Brady told him how to take his game to the next level. So, of course, Mahomes, the next year, wins Super Bowl 54. So what do you think is going to happen in Super Bowl 55? Of course, Brady and Mahomes are going to face each other. This is the narrative and the story that they're laying out for you. And, but anyway, the media was really selling that Bills-Packers Super Bowl. And then after that didn't happen, and they were really selling the Chiefs. And it's like last year, they were really selling the 49ers. Even though the 49ers were just barely the underdogs for Super Bowl 54, the media was like, oh, look, you got such a great value with the 49ers. They're the better team. They're the more complete team. You don't get a better team often that's the dog. I mean, every year the media is selling the wrong team, and people just continue to listen to the media, just like they continue to listen to them on everything else. I mean, the media is telling people right now in the news that there's no cases of flu anywhere in the world. Pharmacies aren't selling any Theraflu. There's just no flu all of a sudden. But then this thing that's got the whole world shut down with the same symptoms as the flu, be afraid of that. And people just can't put two and two together. It's all the same. And with regards to coronavirus equals 155 in Gematria forwards. It equals 142 in reverse. We predicted before the season began that the top record in the NFL this year in the coronavirus season would be 14-2. Sure enough, the Chiefs finished 14-2 in the regular season. And by the Bucs winning the Super Bowl, they finished the year 15-5. Getting their 15th win in Tampa, and Tampa's got Gematria 15. And again, for people who are new here, Gematria is very simple. It's based on the alphabetic order forwards. A is 1 up to Z is 26. And the alphabetic order in reverse. Z is 1 back to A is 26. And then just using those two orders with the rules of numerology. And another thing that I teach every year is how they sync up the NFL with the WWE. The Royal Rumble the weekend before the Super Bowl was in the Tampa Bay Rays baseball stadium, and it was won by the man born in 73, just like how Brady became 7-3. And so that was the Royal Rumble. WrestleMania starts on April 10th, and it's going to be in Raymond James Stadium, where the Super Bowl just was. And what's funny is it's WrestleMania 37. From the day the Super Bowl ended, February 7th, to the day that WrestleMania starts on April 10th is 62 days later. So 37 is the number of WrestleMania, 62 days later. Why does that matter? When you write out Buccaneers, it equals 37. When you run it in reverse, it equals 62. And that was another big stat we liked because Patrick Mahomes fell to 6-2 in the postseason, losing to the Buccaneers. And also, what's funny is the mayor of Tampa Bay, Jane Castor. From her birthday on December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, to the Super Bowl was 62 days later. Just like how the night before, Texas Tech and Kansas State played each other, and the score of that game was 73-62. And they do this stuff year after year. To go back to Super Bowl 53, the last Super Bowl that Tom Brady won, the game in college basketball that we were waiting on the night before the Super Bowl was the VCU Rams, who the Rams in the NFL are named after, versus the George Mason Patriots. And the score in that game that mattered was 63 because we said, there it is. Brady's going to become 6-3 in Super Bowls tomorrow in his 307th career game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Mercedes-Benz Stadium equals 307. Super Bowl 53 was his 307th game. 307 is the 63rd prime. He becomes 6-3. And with regards to the stadiums, the Bucs were the first team ever to play in their own stadium this year. And I said that would make a lot of sense in the coronavirus year because they don't want people to travel anyway. But the Buccaneers in Super Bowl 55 just picked up their 288th franchise win. Perfect, because Raymond James Stadium equals 288. That's how scripted the NFL is. And again, it's just the same stuff that they do year after year after year. And for people going, well, how can they sync up a college basketball with an NFL game? Again, that's the question. That's the $1 million question. I know that they use technology to ensure outcomes in basketball, but still to get to the right point night after night, it is amazing. If you go to my YouTube channel, Gematria Effect Sports, and you watch my live call, because I did a play-by-play for the Super Bowl this year. People asked me to do it.
Amazing. Good job.
When the Chiefs went up 3-0. I said, okay, perfect. I said, watch. The Bucs are going to get it going here, and they're going to come down and make the score 3-7 or 7-3 because Brady's on his way to 7-3 in Super Bowls, and you can look at it 3-7 as well because Buccaneers is 37. When Gronkowski scored the touchdown to put them up 3-6 before the extra point to make it 3-7, he did it with 37 seconds on the clock. And the thing is, they do this stuff week after week after week, and it's just mind-blowing to watch. Because so often, like, I'm sitting here with Sweet Lady, and I'm telling her what's going to happen, and it happens dead on. And then I'm saying, look at the clock. I mean, how do they do it? Is it magic? And again, I'll remind people, that they call this stuff spelling, words, spelling, spells, magic. That there is something really amazing about the way they pull it off. And you look at that last drive before halftime. The Bucs got the ball with 55 seconds on the clock for Super Bowl 55. I said at the beginning of the drive, I was like, it would make a lot of sense if they scored a field goal or a touchdown here, because I said if they kick a field goal, they're at 17 points. That's the 7th prime. Brady's on his way to his 7th championship. But I said if they get the touchdown, they could make it 21-6, 73, the 21st prime. And we went into, they scored a touchdown, and the touchdown pass came with 10 seconds on the clock in Brady's 10th Super Bowl. Again, 55 is the 10th triangular number. The drive started with 55 seconds. And think about it, this new NFL where people always go the length of the field in a minute or less, it's just such a joke, the modern NFL. But what's funny is they went into halftime 21-6, and The Weeknd was performing, and every year I'm showing how they sync up the halftime entertainers with their name and their birthday and the show. The Weeknd's birthday is February 16th. 2-1-6. The halftime score is 21-6 before he performs. And not to mention he came down like a fallen angel from the rafters, which is reminiscent of Satan. Fallen angel.
So right there.
It was in the halftime show, Fallen Angel.
So Zach, let's go back to magic. So the great Pierre Saban talks about manipulation of the wave form. So essentially, they can, and again, we don't really know who they are. We think we do. You said fallen angels. I mean, it's some form of beings who are manipulating this current space-time. They do have control, like you said, through numbers, through primes, through whatever, to somehow manipulate outcomes. Again, in this third dimensional aspect of our reality. So I think that's what it is. It's like the manipulation of the waveform. David Icke calls it waveform particle duality, whatever. There's a lot of different ways that refer to it, but they are manipulating this space time that we're in. And it's just mind blowing that they have access to these frequency codes, and guys like you can kind of, figure a lot of this stuff out. But it's like, what I still don't understand is, are they speaking to Tom Brady? Does Tom Brady have the understanding of the outcome in advance?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just like in my live broadcast, I was saying, look at the way the Chiefs are coming out of the tunnel. I mean, Mahomes was hanging his head. The body language was all off. It looked like they saw the script and they didn't like it. And it's the same stuff over and over. Aaron Rodgers is the worst actor in the NFL. You can tell when he's going to lose every game when he comes out of the tunnel. You can tell when he's got the bad script. They know. It's scripted.
But how do they keep them from telling people later in their lives?
Let me
Well,
tell you.
Go ahead.
So the Chiefs assistant coach was in an accident before the game. He didn't make it to the game.
I saw that.
Andy Reid's son, supposedly.
So they send a message. That's how they send a message. You will play by our rules, or we will kill your family, or we will kill somebody, or we'll make you like a 5-year-old child with life-threatening injuries that he's involved with. Basically sends a message to everybody else. Hey, we got to throw this game. So not everybody's involved in it. You see some of the players getting all like pissed and upset. And I think some of that is legitimate because they know it's bullshit. And they're not in on the fix.
Sure.
So Zach, is it similar to what they're doing to the politicians where they take them? Michael, you and I talked about this. We've read about this. The Kathy, whatever O'Brien book talks about it. They take them in the middle of the night. They bind and gag them. They make them either have sex with a kid or watch them have somebody, while they're videotaping them, right? And then they hold that over their head forever, knowing that they were involved. And so then they just go along and get along forever. It's kind of how they're doing it, right? They hold things over their head so that they can't speak out.
I think all that's possible. I had Larry Johnson on more than a year ago, the former running back from the Chiefs, and he wasn't willing to. He shared some things, like he shared that Kanye West, when he was in connection with all them, he was pretty sure that Kanye West had his mom sacrificed, but he wasn't really willing to divulge much about rigged sports, and I kind of felt like he was holding back there.
Oh, well, you watch his Twitter channel. I mean, him and I have talked on Twitter. He absolutely, positively knows, but he's still getting paid. He's still got a huge paycheck.
And that's the other thing too, money. That's the other thing too, money. And you see when these athletes come out and say that the games are rigged, nobody seems to care. Benny Cunningham came out this year, former NFL running back, and said it's all rigged right before the Super Bowl. Right before the Super Bowl, a former Buck who won the Super Bowl with them in Super Bowl 37 came out and said it was all rigged. Nobody seemed to care. You had the ref Donaghy years ago saying it was all rigged, and he wasn't the only corrupt ref, and nobody seemed to really care. So, again, I think that a lot of people just don't really care about the truth, and they like the games, and, that's all that matters at the end of the day to them, that they like the games, they enjoy the games, and they don't really want to mess with their mindset. So...
Or, Zach, it's like
WrestleMania, it's fixed, or a lot of people know it's fixed, but they don't care. But, people are betting on this. And they believe, because I see people afterwards going, oh, I can't believe they lost, to the Buccaneers and blah, blah, blah. It's like, guys, God, I even put it out on my channel.
Yeah.
Hey, it's rigged.
Yeah.
It's like Brady, like you even put it out. Brady is like, he's born in 77. This is going to be a 7th Super Bowl win. It's on the 7th, and it's boom, boom, boom. So they put it in your face.
I mean, seriously.
Face, and you don't say anything, then it's okay for them to F us.
Right, exactly.
That's why we have to get involved like this and say, hey, this is bullshit. Let's stop this bullshit.
And putting in people's face, exactly. They changed the league this year. They made it so 7 teams made it from each conference instead of 6. And it's like, okay, come on. Saban gets his 7th championship this year. Brady gets his 7th ring. The Dodgers won their 7th championship over Tampa Bay. Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay, and then all of a sudden the Stanley Cup is won by Tampa. The AL pennant's won by Tampa. The Super Bowl's won by Tampa, the city that's not known for winning, just when Brady comes down there. All this stuff is mockery. But here, I want people to understand how scripted it is even further. So again, Super Bowl 55. There's 4 base ciphers in Gematria, and you got to know all 4 to see through the totality of the rituals. The word Satan. Satan equals 55 with the alphabetic order. It equals 10 with the alphabetic order in rules numerology, like Brady's 10th Super Bowl and Super Bowl 55. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Satan equals 80. Now, Brady came into the game with 80 career losses, and he stayed on 80 career losses. He also came in with 80 postseason touchdowns. Oh, and I forgot to mention that with regards to the 73 things, before the postseason began, he had 73 career postseason touchdowns, and then he threw 7 in the postseason before the Super Bowl, so he came into the Super Bowl with 80. But coming into the Super Bowl, he also had 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in this year's postseason for another 73. And so again, Satan equals 55, 10, 80. The other number it equals is 35, and the name Tom Brady's 35. Tom Brady in this game got his 149th career home win because it counted as a home team, because this year the NFC was the home team. Last year it was the AFC. Next year it'll be the AFC. But Brady got his 149th career home win. That is the 35th prime number. So he covered all of his Satan values here.
Wow.
And then the best part is Carl Sheffers, who was the ref, his very first game as an NFL ref, not a line judge, but his first game as a ref was September 7th, 2008, the day Brady and the Patriots beat the Chiefs 17-10. So 27 points, like how they meet on 2-7, like how Leonard Fournette had that 27-yard rush to put up 27 points on the board, and then they kicked the extra point for 28, like that's his jersey number. But Carl Sheffers' first ever game was exactly 149. That game, the first ever game with Brady beating the Chiefs, and Brady got hurt in that game too, which is interesting. That's the only game where he ever got hurt as well. But that game was exactly 149 months before Super Bowl 55, on the nose. And again, Brady gets his 149th home win, which is the 35th prime. Now, the other thing that's funny is Carl Sheffers wears number 51. Tampa equals 51. And he worked Super Bowl 51, which is where Brady had the 25-point comeback on 2/5 over the Falcons, and Falcons equals 25. And in both games, late in the fourth quarter, you had a 3rd and 33 situation for the team going against Brady. In both games that Carl Sheffers worked. In the Falcons game, it made even less sense because it was so ridiculous. The Falcons had the game put away.
That game was insane.
But these rituals, and then what was comical is Sarah Thomas, the first woman to work the Super Bowl. The Chiefs were 5-0 when she was on the field before Super Bowl 55, and I said, how easy is this to see? They're going to fall to 5-1 with Carl Sheffers, number 51, as the head ref, who works Super Bowl 51 that Brady won, and Tampa equals 51. And by the way, Sarah Thomas, there was a story in the weeks before the Super Bowl about how she named her son Brady Thomas after Tom Brady. So do you think there's a conflict of interest? And what made me laugh is one of my predictions for the Super Bowl. We went 3-0 with prop bets for the Super Bowl. We had the Bucks, Brady as MVP, and the under. But one of the other things I said is, I said if you can get the prop bet for Brady to throw at least 3 touchdowns, possibly 5, but I said he'll throw at least 3. Because I said if Brady throws 3 touchdowns, he'll have 83 career postseason touchdowns. Football equals 83. His birthday's August 3rd, 8-3. And if he doesn't throw any interceptions, he'll stay on 38 career postseason interceptions on the 38th day of the year in the Super Bowl. So when I was calling the game in real time, early in the game, a pass got deflected to Brady's, and it got intercepted. And I said right there, I said, oh man, I can't believe it. He's not supposed to throw an interception in this game. I don't think that's part of the script. Then here comes this late flag after I say all that. This flag gets fired out from Sarah Thomas, and then they call this weak, I can't remember if they called defensive holding or pass interference. They called one of the two, but then they got a free first down, and I was like, look how weak that call is right there. And I said, watch, he's not going to throw any picks this game. His whole career is a perfect script.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, you learned your...
There's also in that game, which was amazing, like for all the symbology that was in there. In the halftime show, like he keeps saying 55 and all these different numbers to Satan. In that halftime show, which had all the zombies, looks like, and there was like tombstones in it and all kind of crazy stuff. And fallen angels coming in, and so in the very last portion of it, I'm going to interview a person tomorrow that's she deciphers the halftime shows, and so she had a freeze frame where it literally had the lights flash real quick, Satan,
right,
in your face.
Oh, I have that. That's from the Weeknd's concert. That wasn't actually at Super Bowl 55, but the Weeknd does that at his concert. He flashes Satan on the electronic billboards in the stadiums he's in. And what's funny is those videos were perfectly available after the Super Bowl, but try watching them now on YouTube. They've all been taken down for copyright. And like I even have the evidence right here. I had the video linked on my own page, and it's down. Video unavailable. This video is no longer available due to a copyright claim by RIAA. And that video had been up since 2017, the one I chose to show. So again, this just shows you the censorship too, and how they clean up information as it gets exposed. So the guy flashing Satan at his concert ends up working Super Bowl 55 when Satan equals 55. And he comes down as a fallen angel with glowing red eyes, and fallen angel also equals 55. And with regards to them always syncing up the scores with the halftime entertainers, the weekend equals 40. There ended up being 40 points scored in the Super Bowl, 31-9. And if you write out the greatest of all time, it equals 319 to go with that 31-9 score.
Okay. So, Zach, let's go back. I want you to talk about college sports, too. I want this to be a dissertation because, people are asking about it, and I know you've talked about it, too. It's all fixed. It's all rigged. But let's think, and you're the guy to ask. Tom Brady was an effing nobody. He came out of college as a backup player, a backup quarterback at Michigan, University of Michigan. What symbology or what allowed this guy to create this type of scripted career? Because like you said, the whole thing is rigged and scripted. Like, what made him the person or the choice?
Sure. What made him the choice is a good question. And again, I'll encourage people to go read his Wikipedia page, Tom Brady's, because you'll see the part about how his relative was supposedly the very first prisoner of war of the Nazis in World War II. And of course, the Nazis are known for human experimentation, and all those scientists were shipped over here after the war. Right. So, is Tom Brady some sort of a lab specimen? My problem with looking at Tom Brady is he does not have a good body. And I know he's gotten on human growth hormone in the time of his the league, because his arm has become a lot stronger as he's gotten older, which is not normal. Any athlete will tell you that, hey, I'd rather much be in my mid-20s than my mid-30s, let alone my mid-40s.
Right.
So, I mean, he's defying time, and who knows all what's going on there. But he came out of Michigan as the 199th pick of the draft. That's the 46th prime number. And Michigan equals 46, as does Catholic. And again, all roads lead to Rome. It's the Catholics and the Jesuits who control these leagues, who control the government. I mean, look at your federal government. It's Roman architecture everywhere, Roman fasces on the wall of the house. I mean, it just couldn't be any more obvious. The last time we joined, I was saying why Biden would be number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. They love that Catholic number. So he's got that thing going on. Plus, he's a good Catholic there, Tom Brady. He is Catholic himself. They do plenty of rituals out of Michigan. This year, for example, Juwan Howard of the Fab Five, who's now the basketball coach at Michigan, his birthday was the day of the Super Bowl. And Michigan college basketball was sitting on the record of 13-1. If you write out Super Bowl, it equals 131. If you write out championship, it equals 131. They love that number with championships. And it's just like the Chiefs this year. The Chiefs... For people who don't know, this was the 101st NFL season. They became 10-1 during the season in the Bucs Stadium for the 101st season, and sure enough, they end up in the Super Bowl there. But they also became 13-1 in the season playing the division rival of the Bucs, the Saints. And in that game, Mahomes got his 41st career win as they improved to 13-1. And that was exactly 49 days before the Super Bowl. Again, there's 4 base ciphers. Super Bowl equals 131, 41, and 49 in 3 out of those 4 base ciphers. So just the ultimate Super Bowl ritual in that game with the Chiefs, leading up to the finalized outcome. But Brady, again, he was the 199th pick. There was a story from Ben Roethlisberger, the last old man standing. Did you guys see that at the beginning of the playoffs, how Ben Roethlisberger, number 7, said he wanted to be the last old man standing?
I did. I heard about it, but I did not read it.
Okay, so this got a lot of traction at the beginning of the playoffs, and we showed right away how last old man standing, what all the headlines were emphasizing about this story. And remember, Roethlisberger wears 7, like Brady's going for 7, but that phrase, last old man standing, equaled 199. And we said, what more do you need to see? Brady, the 199th pick, is going to be the last old man standing. And what else is funny about that phrase is it equals 287. And if you write out Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., it also equals 287. Just again, to understand how important these 4 base ciphers are, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. also equals 163. The Chiefs fell to 16-3 for the season, and the game was exactly 163 days before Gisele's 41st birthday, where Super Bowl's 41, and Brady won his last Super Bowl when he was 41 himself. And remember, it was after Super Bowl 53 where Gisele came out and said she was a good witch and she cast magical spells for Brady to win his games. Tom Brady's full name also equals 116, just like Tampa, Florida equals 116, and that explains why they were in the 116th World Series this year, which was synced up with the Super Bowl. But again, coming back to the college thing, Nick Saban this year. We called Nick Saban to win the I was already on Alabama to win it because Kobe Bryant died on the anniversary of Bear Bryant. I knew there was something there with that. But when Saban was diagnosed with coronavirus, it was exactly 89 days before the championship game. For people who don't know, Nick Saban is the coach of Alabama. So he was diagnosed with the virus 89 days before the championship game on January 11th. Now that matters because virus equals 89. If you watch that movie Contagion, they say the number 89 like a million times in the film. But 89 days before the championship game, 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number. So the championship game's on the 11th. Football's a game of 11 on 11. And I said, that's all you need to see right there. Everything's about coronavirus right now. This is synced up with the championship. He's going to surpass Bear Bryant and get number 7. And we were looking at Brady to get 7 already this year. We had the Dodgers before the season to beat the Braves in the NLCS and win the World Series and get 7. We knew it was going to be a year of 7s. And again, it's just, I don't know how sports fans can witness all this stuff year after year, the themed rituals, and not catch on, especially when they're doing things like manipulating the playoffs and changing it to 7 games. And next year, the NFL is going to have a 17-game schedule in the regular season, which is the 7th prime number after Brady wins 7. So, just to go back to, we've been calling college and pro championships in all sports for over 7 years now, which is a true stat. And to date, still, out of all the college and pro sports rigged rituals that we've uncovered and called before it happened, I don't know if it'll ever be topped, but it was the year of the bathroom bill in the Carolinas. The bathroom bill, for people who forget, was about who could use the restroom, the men or the women, because with the whole transgender thing.
Right.
And the NBA punished the city of Charlotte, where this was going on at, and took away the All-Star game, because they said, this is bigoted to be, singling out transgender people who are a vulnerable group and they just want to use the urinal. It's like, well, what about the father who just watched a 60-year-old man go in?
It's unbelievable, dude. It's all satanic, Zach. All of it's satanic.
But here's how awesome the ritual was. So I said, watch. They punish the NBA, but they're going to reward the Carolinas in college basketball because everything's duality, give and take. Right. So I said, watch. You're going to see the Carolinas dominate this year's tournament. And the bracket that year, they put out the teams in the bracket on the 71st day of the year. Now, that's important because March Madness is 71, but Bathroom Bill is also 71. And that year, Gonzaga, who's always a top team, the big Jesuit program, that year Gonzaga was hot. I said, this is going to be a year Gonzaga is going to go past their expectations. They're going to make it to the championship because Gonzaga Bulldogs is 71, Gonzaga is 71, Catholics 71. It's the Catholics and Jesuits who have a lot to do with this. That's what I was saying at the time. Now I know they just run the whole show. But I said, in the team they're going to play is North Carolina, because this championship was foreshadowed years ago in Madison Square Garden. This was a prime... I remember this game like nothing, because a guy that I grew up playing basketball with, Derek Ravio, who played at Gonzaga, he lit up North Carolina in Madison Square Garden when Gonzaga beat UNC. But I said, Gonzaga's not going to win this. North Carolina will beat Gonzaga in the championship. The Carolinas are taking it. I said, watch these other Carolina teams. That year, South Carolina even made it to the Final Four. And then in the women's tournament, South Carolina won the tournament. And they called the South Carolina, for people who don't know, the South Carolina nickname is the Gamecocks. But all throughout that tournament, they referred to the women's team as the Lady Cocks. And then the Lady Cocks took the championship after the bathroom bill. So again, man, I mean, the way they mock and bring news and sports together, it's just so obvious unless you're brain dead. And that year, just with the whole bathroom bill and the Carolinas and losing the All-Star game, and then just Carolinas dominating the men and women's tournament, it just, it couldn't have been any more obvious. And as per always, it was by the numbers. So.
So,
And not only that, but North Carolina, if you go back and look at the box score, North Carolina ended up beating Gonzaga with 71 points in the championship for another 71.
So Brady came from the Patriots, and he went to the swashbucklers like the Skull and Bones
Pirates,
guys. The Pirates. And, we're on a maritime law and controls everything. But Patriots, you can't talk Patriots anymore. If you do, you get shut down.
Well, there was literally just a headline a couple weeks ago that equated the Patriots on January 6th in D.C., which was all stage 2, but in the same article, which I covered at the time, they equated those Patriots with terrorists. And I said, see how far we've come? Remember after 9/11, it was the terrorists, and then the Patriot Act and the Patriots. And remember, at the time, it was number 43, George W. Bush, member of Skull and Bones, who went to Yale. For people who forget, Yale equals 43, Florida equals 43. When Bush became president, it came down to Florida, where his brother Jeb was the 43rd governor. And don't forget his father was the 43rd vice president either. Prior to that, he was the head of the CIA, and then he became the 41st president, and Skull and Bones is 41. But I explained all this even in the book that I put out. It was symbolic when Brady went to Florida as the nation's kind of falling to this agenda, this Jesuit Catholic takeover that's blamed on an illness. Brady leaves the Patriots and goes down to the team that are like the Pirates.
right.
And again, their symbol is a skull with crossed swords, which isn't far from, the symbol of Yale's Skull and Bones. And, I don't know if you want me to bring this guy up, but your old wingman, Jay, I don't know if he saw the idiotic.
You can bring him up, dude.
That guy just gets dumber by the day. I just happened to watch his video on how the Super Bowl wasn't rigged, and if it was rigged, Brady would have never won. It's like, what is this guy talking about?
That guy is. Don't bring his name up, but I think people know who we're talking about.
Yeah, but then he said idiots are saying that this has something to do with Skull and Bones. It's like, idiots? Okay, if you can't see that this has everything to do with Skull and Bones.
He works for the bad guys.
He must.
100%. That's why I left him. He knows that he does. But by the way, let's go back to Brady. Now, you were an athlete, Zach. I was an athlete. Michael was an athlete. There's no effing way that dude can perform at that level. I don't give a shit what he's on. I know more about drugs than anybody. He is what you just said, bro, and I never figured it out. He is some sort of humanoid, biobotic, maybe Nazi invention, a creation from the lab, whatever he is, he definitely is not like us. There's no possible way he could be performing at that level, at this age, right now in a game with these type of athletes. It's not possible.
Zach, you came up with a beautiful name. I just laughed. I told everybody about it. It was like you called them something like choreographed, in a play or something like that. What'd you say about all the athletes? There's just a choreographed show,
Right.
Sure.
of super athletes. Maybe you don't remember what but it was beautiful. I wish I could remember.
He's the master of all these great athletes, and he's 44 years old, dominating.
So look at Joe Biden in GQ. So in GQ magazine, this is another clue here. He's sitting on Indian blankets. He's got his ass on them. So there you go. The Chiefs aren't going to win because Joe Biden is disrespecting them. He's also got his fingers on a guitar, and he's fingering a minor. That's the chord he's fingering on the guitar. And he's got a whip by him. So he's whipping the masses into shape, and he's got a horse bit over his shoulder. It's like, controlling the masses and stuff. It's all about, we're going to control you. We're going to make you do what we want you to do. And we're going to put it in your face, because I'm like the dumbest guy that's ever been around ever, and I'm your president. It's like, what? No, I love you because you're like a good comedian. You hate everybody. You destroy everybody. So have at it, man. What do you think?
Indeed. And again, it all goes together. You know, Tom Brady's Mr. 46 right after Biden, you know, becomes number 46, and it's all being scripted by the exact same Jesuit Catholic cabal.
Yeah,
And
it is.
it's
I mean,
just
Zach, we just had Leo. What was his last name again? Zagami.
Zagami.
He came on Tuesday night, and he talked about the Jesuit control, and it was absolutely mind blowing. I wanted to talk to that guy.
First president, Jesuit, first.
They're in control, dude. You said it. You told me what last time you and I talked about 5 or 6 months ago. You said the same shit.
sure.
Was it back in September? You told me that Biden was going to win, and I was like, no way, dude. And he's like, trust me, bro. It's the way it works.
I didn't believe it either, but you're right.
It's all such a script.
Just for people to understand the ongoing script too with this season was directly connected to Super Bowl 53 where Brady beat the Rams, who were also once in Missouri. And don't forget, Brady's first ever Super Bowl was over the Rams when they were in Missouri.
Right.
But look at this. So the 99th NFL season ended with Super Bowl 53. In that season, the AFC Championship was Brady versus Mahomes, and that game was in Kansas City and Arrowhead Stadium. And that matters because it was the 99th NFL season, and Brady got his 99th career road win in the AFC Championship in Arrowhead Stadium, which matters because when you write out Arrowhead Stadium, it equals 99. When you write out Patrick Mahomes Jr., it's 99. And what's important about that number is the United States of America equals 99, and it was named that on September 9th, 9-9. So think about the symbolism. The team with New England, with the white Patriot on the helmet, goes into the Chiefs building and beats them. And now fast forward to this season, now Brady's on the Bucs, and it's the Super Bowl Brady versus Mahomes, and he's on the Pirate team, you know, playing down in Florida near where Christopher Columbus supposedly landed in history, and he's playing the native team again. So all of this stuff is like a historical recreation too. And there were so many deaths connected to this Super Bowl, but did you catch that the night before the Super Bowl, the news of Leon Spink's death came out?
Yes.
So if you go back and look, Leon Spinks upset Muhammad Ali, considered one of the greatest boxing upsets ever. Leon Spinks, if you go back, when he beat Muhammad Ali, he kept Muhammad Ali on 55 career wins in that fight, and then his death is announced the night before Super Bowl 55. Well, the name Leon Spinks equals 55 in Gematria. And beyond that, he died at age 67. 67's the 19th prime number. 19 years ago, Brady beat the St. Louis Rams, also in Missouri. And that matters because, again, these 19-year cycles synced up with the moon. The Weeknd's halftime show, he had a big prop moon up there. Again, the moon's on 19-year cycles. This is 19 years later against another Missouri team. If you missed it, on the same day that Leon Spinks died, Butch Reed died, the wrestler, and he's from Kansas City. Now, Kansas City equals 67. Leon Spinks died at 67. 67's the 19th prime number, and Brady went from 6 Super Bowl wins to 7 Super Bowl wins by defeating Kansas City. Both of these guys died on February 5th, 2-5, and Tampa Bay equals 25. And if you watch the CBS pregame, there were 5 people who made their prediction. Only one called the Bucs to win, and that was Bill Cowher, who was with the Steelers, who won Super Bowl 43 in the Bucs Stadium, which was the last Super Bowl played in the Bucs Stadium, was Super Bowl 43, and then Brady wins there at age 43. But what was funny is they made a point how Cowher had the worst record picking games this year. He only had 24 games right. The other guys had a whole bunch right. But I said right there, I said, Cowher's going to get his 25th correct because Tampa Bay's 25, and they just killed all these people on the 25th. Did you see how before the Super Bowl was played, they announced that the founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation had died at age 77, Frank Shankowitz?
Didn't see that.
So they saved the news of his death for before the Super Bowl, but he had actually died the day of the conference championship games 2 weeks earlier. But they saved the news for the day. They saved the news of his death for the day of the Super Bowl. He died at age 77, and he died 43 days from his birthday, like how Brady was born in 77, and he's 43 years old. And then did you see who they announced died the day after the Super Bowl?
No.
Marty Schottenheimer, the old Chiefs coach.
That's right.
Dead at age 77. They said he died from Alzheimer's, which equals 55. And if you go back and look, he finished coaching the Chiefs when he was 55 years old. Then he dies the day after Super Bowl 55 from Alzheimer's. Again, year after year, it's like this. All these people will die in the world of celebrity. There's even a lot more that we could get into. A ton of people have died in connection to the Super Bowl. Even the secretary for Ronald Reagan, he was in the news dead the day of the Super Bowl, and he died on his 55th day of his age. I mean, this stuff is just clockwork. And again, it reminds you that the people who are responsible for the Super Bowl are the same people that are responsible for your government. They'll off everybody with the right number connection for these big games, and they do it in cycles, and it's just so in your face. Marty Schottenheimer dead at 77, the Chiefs coach. Well, what blows my mind is I always remember Eminem on his first lyric Eminem on his first album has the lyric about cursing at you players worse than Marty Schottenheimer. If you go back and look at that, 2 lines before that verse, he's talking about somebody named James Brady, and it's got me going, okay, who wrote this verse really for Eminem here? James Brady, and then we're into Marty Schottenheimer. I realize this stuff's not an accident. I mean, the world of entertainment is scripted, so...
So, Zach, these guys are asking about this real quick. Let me share the screen with this article. They're asking you what does this mean? This came out today. 6 pirate skeletons discovered in 1717 shipwreck off coast of Cape Cod. Any relevance?
Well, 1717 is the year modern Freemasonry was created by the Jesuits. And so 17 is the 7th prime. I'll go back and look at it more. Cape Cod, Massachusetts. So Brady goes from Massachusetts to Florida, and then... yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more with that, but no doubt this is all, again, this is in the week following the Super Bowl, so this is just more mockery.
Because they play with the numbers like this because they want to play like God. Now, naturally, these numbers come out and they're amazing, and there's God's connection and stuff like that. They want to play God. That's why they manipulate the numbers. That's why they have these deaths on these ritual dates and so forth.
Look at that. I just had to plug in Cape Cod to see what popped up. So Cape Cod equals 34. LV in Roman numerals is 55, but in English, L's the 12th letter, V's the 22nd. So it's 34. Brady got his 34th career playoff win in LV. And then think about the numerology of 34. 3 plus 4 is 7. And he's 43 years old. 4 plus 3 is 7. So that's why they're going with the Cape Cod thing there. I also see Cape Cod equals 47 like Tampa Bay. It also equals 29 like football. Tampa Bay Buccaneers equals 109, which is the 29th prime, and their all-time franchise record now in the playoffs is 10-9. So, again, just they couldn't script this stuff any better. I'll look more at that Cape Cod story, but yeah, that's the year modern Freemasonry was created, 1717. So
they're just telling us right to our face now. So, Zach, let's get to that. Let's talk about this, because Michael and I talk about this. Right now, popular media is pure satanic Luciferianism stuff. You go on Netflix, nothing on Netflix is not goblins, demons, witches, dragons, fallen angels, again, Lucifer. I mean, I could keep going. So where are we now on the timeline of it's so in our face? Are we truly from a biblical ritual standpoint, in the quote unquote end times now, right now, this very moment?
Well, did you catch that they had that guy run on the field with the vitally uncensored pink leotard porn website? You catch that at the Super Bowl?
No.
So what was weird is he had this tattoo on his chest, Revelation 2:10, and think about it. The Bucs won their 2nd Super Bowl in Brady's 10th Super Bowl appearance. And they said that this guy won $374,000 because he bet on a streaker. He bet $5,000 on a streaker, and then he streaked, so he got paid out. And he netted $374,000. Well, that's funny because Revelation 2:10 leaves 374 verses left in Revelation. But Revelation 2:10 is a bizarre verse. It says, "Do not be afraid of what you are about to suffer. I tell you, the devil will put some of you in prison to test you, and you will suffer persecution for 10 days. Be faithful even to the point of death, and I will give you life as your victor's crown." So very interesting verse in light of this being the coronavirus Super Bowl, because Corona's the crown. And again, the first case in the world was confirmed in Seattle, Washington, which is King County, where the Space Needle is, and now everybody's supposed to go out and get the vaccine from criminal Pfizer. But what a verse to have tattooed on your chest. Why would anyone get that tattooed on their chest? So, that's, and again, Revelation, what's the most infamous thing in Revelation? That you have to accept the mark of the beast to participate
Right,
in the market. And, so vaccination has that Gematria 666. And so I'd say that's where we are. That's where we are.
So Leo Zagami said that he told Michael and I that we are these are the end times. And, we talked about how he said, Michael, within the next 3 months, if you don't want to get, injected or tested or both, you won't be able to fly. Get used to the idea that, you'll only be able to take a private flight. But he said that, that we should all concern ourselves with the idea that at the end times, when all hope appears to be going out, again, think of Lord of the Rings and Sauron and, everything that is showed up, Thanos, Endgame, what they're putting out in front of us, it could still be that that's when the armies of good, the armies of Christ, the armies of whatever, God's armies, whatever, show up. And if you've done a good job and you've been in service, and you've been helping people and, again, serving creation, you have nothing to worry about. So, who knows? We all know that whatever's going on in this country right now is like fake. It's like it's a separate timeline. So many people voted for Trump. It didn't matter. They stole the election. They rigged it, as you called and predicted it. So it's like, what really is going on right now other than just like a fake timeline?
Well, again, we see what's going on. They've installed their surveillance grid.
Right.
They've convinced people to be afraid of one another, that there's a deadly virus out there, that they need to give up their livelihood, their job, their business, pretty much everything. Just sit back, trust the plan. They essentially turned everybody into a QAnon believer, because it looks like that's what everyone's doing, is sitting back and trusting the plan, whether they're into Q or not. And Q absolutely is a psyop, people, but again, I've been telling people for years that they use the Bible as a playbook, and I maintain that, the reason so many people can't think is because they were taught from a young age to believe and follow authority, and the foundational layer of that is religion. And, and then on top of that's government and news. And, people are just so used to being lied to. And what you were saying is like, yeah, in the end of the book, there's supposed to be the armies of heaven led by Michael that come and fight back. Well, I've been pretty thoroughly convinced for almost all my life that there's not many good people, and most people are essentially like, again, I'm not a Christian, but I understand that the Bible is teaching the concepts of good and evil. I'm convinced that most people, whether they realize it or not, are truly evil and just go along with evil and are used to evil and don't really object to evil. Like, for everyone who didn't see through 9/11, to me, it's like there had to be something seriously wrong with you, because it was the most obvious lie, and now they're blaming people who aren't responsible, and now they're going to send off children to fight wars and just kill all these people in an obvious lie. Something has to be very wrong with you to not see how obvious all of this is. Same thing with what's going on right now.
Right.
And it's just like, I was saying yesterday on a live stream, and I'm sure that video is going to get taken down on that channel too, but I was saying, what are we going to do about all this censorship and evil? Are we going to stand up and fight, or are we just going to keep taking it up the rear end? And they're even telling you right now. I was joking a few weeks ago about how we're probably not too far off before they're sticking something up our rear end to test for COVID. And then we got the headline on January 26th that in China they began with the anal swabs. And they didn't, that headline didn't come on the 26th by accident. Anal equals 26. Sodomy equals 26. And, again, it's just like, I don't think anybody's going to fight back. I'm thinking about strapping up like old Adam Lanza, which was another Jesuit psyop, and going down and showing YouTube what I think about all their censorship. And I'm sure that's just what they'd want, but God, somebody's got to spark something here, because nobody's doing nothing, and it's just going to get worse by the day. So
I don't think we have that. Zach, those are great points, man. I don't think we have that much time left. I know Michael and I have said that, if changes are not happening by the middle of this year, most people in the United States are not going to pay their taxes. The system is going to crash. Either way, come one way or the other. But back to your point about people are evil, what if there's just not that many people actually here? What if the majority of these people are just ghosts in the machine? They're NPCs. They're backfill people, like Dolores Cannon called them. That to me is looking more and more logical, because, yeah, dude, like, they don't even, like, they're barely alive. They just go along, get along, do nothing.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. I mean, I think there's things about this world that we're just not supposed to understand, and they've been bothering me the whole time. I didn't understand how pretty much everyone was fooled by 9/11. I don't understand how everyone's pretty much fooled by this. I don't understand how people are so invested in all this crap, including rig sports. And I don't understand how any grown man can think Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback to ever play. It's like, do you watch the guy's career? His whole career is if he screws up, a flag comes out for him. They make a new rule for him. The guy has no athleticism. He has no agility. I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes, who's a great athlete. He spent the whole game running for his life like most quarterbacks do. Tom Brady, it doesn't matter how many injuries are on his offensive line. It doesn't matter what ragtag group they got up there. The guy's got all day in the pocket. He's always got a comfortable space to step into. It's just such a joke. I mean, just everything is just such a joke, and people can't see through it. I don't understand it. I mean, come on. Joe Biden's the president of the United States. This guy was the laughing stock out of the 20 candidates of Democrats for months. And I was telling people then, I was like, watch, somehow I think they're going to make him the front runner, because why else would Donald Trump supposedly be digging up dirt on him? I mean, if it was real, Donald Trump should have been digging up dirt on, I don't know, Kamala Harris, who was the front runner at the time, or somebody like that. But why would he be digging up dirt on Joe Biden, who's the laughing stock of the news each night, who can't remember what city he's in, who's just saying things that make no sense, just like 8 sentences running on into one that just made no sense, and he just says it like there's nothing wrong? It's like, how's he even on the stage to even run for president right now?
Zach, do you remember what Gerald Clark used to say? Gerald Clark used to say, the Anunnaki have us on the board, and we're just pieces. And they're just moving us around for humor. It's like Jason and the Argonauts or Jason and the Golden Fleece. And they were just like, the gods are up there in the pantheon, and they're just like looking down at us, and we're just like a big shit show to them. We're a joke. But that's why I think, truthfully, if we really look at this from a spiritual level, we consented to be here for growth and evolution as souls. And this is the nastiest, lowest vibration, darkest place. And there's tons of NPCs put here around us for us to maneuver and figure it out. And I still think the solution, and again, this is my opinion, is to get out. That's the solution.
Well, how do you propose that, though, Jay? How do we get out?
Well, I think you get out when your soul learns to get out, meaning you get to a point where you've served the greater good and served creation. You're serving creation. Michael and I are serving creation. The people in this group are serving creation. But it may have taken us many, many lives or incarnations to get to this point. I don't know. We clearly forget every time we reboot or come in, But then we slowly remember.
I just talked to a guy that was it's Tom Althouse, and he basically he wrote the script for The Matrix, and they stole it from him.
Yeah.
So he's talking about all the numbers like you're talking about, all kinds of crazy stuff, and I told him about how, being in CIA, I watched them, do weapons trafficking. That's how my buddies got killed in Benghazi. There was weapons trafficking going to ISIS from Gaddafi's old weapons stores. So they tried to cover it up, and they tried to come in and hit the guy. So anyway, I saw drug trafficking. I saw guys that had been involved in drug trafficking, in Asia with the Vietnam War. And then they were bringing them in to start it there in Afghanistan. I'm like, what the hell? Then I've seen human trafficking. They make money on all this stuff. They make money on the sports. They make money on stealing intellectual property and then blowing up into these great big movies where this guy was going to expose human trafficking, child trafficking, and they turned it into something else. Remember the scene where the couple had the child at the train station? That was supposed to be they're sending their child off for human trafficking, and they turned it around in the movie. So all kinds of crazy stuff.
So Zach, real quick.
We're not going to protect that system. Let that system crumble. It's going to crumble.
So Michael and Zach, real quick, and we're getting some amazing comments from the chatters, but what just popped into my head is the movie War Games with Matthew Broderick. Remember at the very end when the machine figures out that nuclear war is just mutual assured destruction, and Matthew Broderick programs it in saying the only winning, to Joshua, the computer, the only winning move is not to play. So I think, like you said, it's duality and it's emergent systems. And when we get connected to one side or the other, we stay in this game of duality. And so you literally have to opt out, and opting out is working on yourself in service to the greater good. And even you may be serving demons and you may be serving sheep and sleepers and NPCs, but as long as you're still doing it and serving other people, I think that's how you eventually get out. But I still think that that's the move, is to get out. That's the only move, is to get out.
Yeah, Zach, you're a stud in this Gematria space. GematriaEffectNews has like been informing me for years. All the stuff you talked about, and it's not just about sports; it's about everything.
Yeah, Jack's one of the good people, man.
Amazing.
Zach, what about the video? I mean, what about the stock? They're all saying it. What about GameStop? Michael, you've been talking about that. What about the stock? GameStop.
Okay, so okay,
what's going on with that?
Okay, just real quick, if I had to say who's the biggest beneficiary in terms of companies out of the whole GameStop fiasco, who is there one that would come to mind?
Probably Warren Buffett, I would assume, at the very
How about this whole Robinhood thing? Because now they have commercials and everyone's talking about them and all these stories. Right. And they got an ad at Super Bowl 55. Nobody even heard of Robinhood before all this. Well, Robinhood equals 55. But this whole GameStop thing is a big Jesuit joke, as per always. I mean, for anyone who... Reddit is such a trash forum. Reddit is worse than the mainstream media. And nobody on Reddit is responsible for anything. I mean, that's just such a joke right there. If you look at the gematria of GameStop, Reddit, and Federal, they're all the exact same. And I have no doubt that that's who controls the Reddit board is the feds. I mean, go share my work on Reddit and see how it just takes a second until there's a pack of maggots on there telling you that Gematria is stupid. Again, it's the worst platform online, Reddit. There's no one on Reddit that's responsible for anything. And so anyway, and look at what they're setting up with all this. They're saying, now we need all these new federal regulations because we got to protect the billionaires who might have lost money to the small people working together on a forum. This is just some whole setup to just patch holes in the market, because they're starting to think, they're building a society of starving people. People are going to have to get more clever and figure out ways to put meals on their plate. They're thinking about ways that, what if society organized and did this to us? So then they just run their little psyop, like what they did here with the whole GameStop thing. And just the terminology of GameStop, too. Just think about that name. But that's what this is. This is a do the activity that they don't want the people to do, so they can create their whole narrative for why they need to regulate against it to protect anybody from doing anything like this. But then you look at the GameStop ticker, GME. It's got that 56, like Washington D.C., like Society of Jesus, the company that was supposedly hit the hardest, Melvin Capital's 56. This whole thing is a joke. And, the other thing that people think is the savior out there, Bitcoin. For people who haven't seen my video from January 2nd on Bitcoin, I predicted that the thing would be at 45,000 on Valentine's Day. And right now it's even above that. We'll see if they get it back down to 45,000 for Valentine's Day. But here's the reason I said that. That guy, what's his name? Whatever the Japanese guy's name is that's supposedly the founder of Bitcoin and no one even knows if he's a real person. Yeah. His name equals 45. His birthday is April 5th, 4-5. He's supposedly 45 years old right now. And I noticed, I said, look at this. From his birthday to Valentine's Day, the 45th day of the year, is exactly 45 weeks. So I said, watch. Bitcoin will probably be at 45,000 on Valentine's Day. It just eclipsed 45,000 a few days ago. But anyway, the reason you can tell it's controlled by the Jesuits is because it was January 2nd, 2/1 as the majority of the world writes it, to start 21, that it hit its record high. It just rapidly accelerated in a few days to get to that mark. And the word Jesuits 21. They love this number, the Jesuits 21. And how many Bitcoins are there supposedly? 21 million? I mean, it's just so obvious. All these number rituals, the Jesuits... And for people who don't know who the Jesuits are, look into them. They're not just Catholic. The majority of their founders were Jews who converted to Catholicism.
Venetians, yep.
Yeah. So anyway, when people blame Jews for things, it's not all, but you gotta look at which ones it is, and it's definitely the ones that operate inside the Catholic Church.
Right.
And that's who the Jesuits are. And that's why they hate that I put out this knowledge out there, because I'm sharing their secrets. Again, this all comes from Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism. But the Jesuits run the show, you guys. All roads lead to Rome. And you know what? But before we sign off, again, everything that these people have done, they've encoded with their numbers. And I just got to say, for all of you that sit back and sit on your hands because of your false religion and wait for your Savior, it's never going to happen. That's your slave book. It was given to you to keep you parked in your chair. Look into the history of Christianity. It's Mithraism, which was the religion of Rome before the Roman Catholic Church.
100%.
Notice that the name Mithra equals 93. He was the sun god. The sun is said to be 93 million miles away. God's Son equals 93, Crucifix 93, Nazareth 93, the 930th chapter of the Bible is where the Christian section begins. Jesus is crucified between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. in the Bible. Modern science, it was 2012. In 2012, modern science said Jesus' date of crucifixion was traced to April 3rd, which is the 93rd day of the year. And notice, Mithraism and Christian both equal 47 and 61, just like the word time, 47 and 61. What dictates time? The sun, based on the calendar we use, that's a solar calendar that comes from the Catholic Church, just like our language is credited to the Catholic monk Burfirth. But that 61 is important because in sacred geometry, the flower of life is made out of 61 circles, and it represents God. The word church is 61, Jesus is 61, cross is 61, Christmas is 61, Mithra's birthday is December 25th, Jesus' birthday, which in the Bible is clearly in the summer, but we celebrate it on December 25th when the sun is born anew. Roman is 61, in Jewish gematria, which is based on the Latin alphabet, God is 61. Again, all these numbers are used so symbolically. They're used in sports. They're used in news rituals.
I love this, Zach. 7 rays come out from Mithra. 7. Right. 7 rays come out from Statue of Liberty. 7 rays. You'll look at Jesus with the rays coming out. 7. Right. How many Super Bowl wins? 7.
And how many points have the Chiefs now given up in Super Bowls? 93. And if you go back to Super Bowl 51... Brady had 93 offensive plays, and we said right there, well, he'll be in Super Bowl 52 because Minneapolis, Minnesota's 93, and it's on the 93rd meridian. Again, they perform all their stuff around these numbers. And again, I just don't know how Christians don't figure it out. Come on. Sunday. Say it out loud. Sunday. I mean, come on. The Catholic Church, the solar calendar, all of this stuff is so obvious. Oh, how dare you say that, you shill? Jesus is my savior. It's just like, okay, you guys, you're like, you can't get over Santa Claus. You guys, this is why we're so stuck, because everybody's so hung up on bullshit, whether it's their religion or their government or their political party or their sports team. It's like a saviors. Yeah, it's just a child.
Up on external saviors.
That's what they did to us. They got everybody stunted in their childhood with all these childhood beliefs, and it all comes back to fear too. Just like I was arguing with a Christian the other day, and I was like, what you just said tells me that you believe in what you believe because you're afraid that if you don't, you'll be punished in hell. And he goes, well, it's good to have some fear. I was like, okay, so your whole belief is based out of fear. Okay, good for you.
Brother, Michael and I, that's all we teach is to be fearless. Again, to raise your vibration, to get to a level where you trust yourself. And again, regardless of what or if Jesus existed, he was an avatar being, there's been many. The statement, which was the truth, is that the kingdom of God is found inside you, right? Through your soul, through your higher self, through the connection that you have to
exactly. Everybody's the child of God, he didn't just send one to earth to die thousands of years ago so you can believe in a story that you can't prove, that makes no damn sense.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Exactly. It's 100% accurate. So Cinnamon Burke, who's one of our good Patreons, she said, Zach, please ask Zach, what is the best Gematria site that what is the best one to you?
Well, you know, Derek's site is good. He has a lot of tools here, gematrinator.com, and then sometimes his site's down. You can just use mine if it's down. GematriaEffect.News has the exact same calculator when you go to the calculator tab. And also, just for the record, for all the people out there that want to learn Gematria, I suggest you go to GematriaEffect.News, click the calculator tab, and then if you have a smartphone, you can download the app, which works offline, which is nice if you don't have an internet connection. And, you're out on the road, you see something interesting, you want to punch it in, you can just type in the app. And the app's completely free. It definitely wasn't free to make, but I made it free so everybody can download it.
That's a great app, too.
Dude, you're amazing.
Fun to do that. You're awesome.
Support you and sponsor you other than your Patreon. Any other places you want us to send them?
Oh no, I'm doing fine, man. And again, for people out there who are interested in this, who are dead broke because of the New World Order shut down your livelihood, and we haven't risen up and overthrown it. For all the people that are broke out there, if you do go to my Patreon page, when you click on it, it posts in chronological order. So if you scroll down a little bit to December 24th, I made both my ebooks free to download, so you can just download both books for free.
That's awesome, brother. Dude, you're amazing, man. I love you. I appreciate you coming on. Michael, I know, feels the same way. You're a legend, dude.
You're amazing.
You've been breaking it down for people for so long. Michael, I feel like we should just bring Zach on like at least once a month or once a quarter just to break.
Just to break this stuff down. Hell yeah. Yeah, this is amazing.
Oh, did you guys see this headline from yesterday? Burt Reynolds died the season of Super Bowl 53 that Brady won, and then they just buried him supposedly yesterday. Did you see this?
Oh, no.
It's like, okay, where's his body been? But look at this. They buried him on February 11th, right? And his name, Mean Machine, or, in the longest yard, he plays for the Mean Machine, which equals 211. 211 is the 47th prime, Tampa Bay 47. The year that Brady won Super Bowl 53 dies. Now after Brady wins Super Bowl 55, now they bury Burt Reynolds. It's just like, come on, man.
God, insane.
So, guys, everybody who watched this today, because this Michael, Jesus, dude, I mean, like we keep saying, it just keeps getting better and better. Please share your feedback on how amazing this provide a testimonial on how amazing this episode was with Zach. I mean, he dropped so much wisdom and so much knowledge. Zach, before we let you go, though, because there was a good friend of mine who's in the group watching, he's like, can Zach, in one statement or less, convince me, meaning the guy who's watching, his name's Jeff Cochran, actually, that all college sports at the highest level is fixed? How would you say it?
Yeah, sign up for Patreon and watch how we kill it every Saturday.
Exactly.
I mean, dude, it's so true. I remember when I was a kid, my dad used to say to me, again, my dad's clueless, he's asleep, God bless him, but he would be like, they hire the highest level statisticians and mathematics people from the Ivy League to create the lines, and that's why they always get right on the numbers.
Yeah, no, college football is one of the easiest. College football is where we make the most money, and just for example, there was 3 upsets on the board. One was Cal and Oregon game. I'm trying to remember what the other 2 were, but anyway, there are people that just made a ton of money because I gave them a 3-team parlay that paid 30-1. It paid a little more than 30-1. One guy bet $1,000 on it. He felt so good about it. He won like $31,500 on a $1,000 bet. Again, college football is one of the easiest to decode because there's just less things to look at. It's all synced up with the week number. And hey, just to make a point, the Pac-12 was the last major division to return, and they returned on the day leaving 55 days left in the year of Super Bowl 55. And the Pac-12 championship was 51 days before the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 55 was the 51st of the modern era. Oregon beat USC, dropping them to 5-1. Oregon Ducks is 51. And we knew that because of that ritual, the night before that game was Thursday Night Football, and you might recall that Derek Carr for the Raiders faked an injury early in the game, so then in came Mariota, the Oregon quarterback, and he was facing Herbert, who just got drafted in the first round out of Oregon, so you had 2 Oregon quarterbacks going against each other in a game in Los Angeles the night before the Pac-12 championship where Oregon was playing in Los Angeles, which Oregon won. And it was all synced up with the Super Bowl. And we went 13-0 in the NFL playoffs this year, decoding games. There were 13 games in the playoffs. We could hit them all. And we really liked the 2 Pac-12 quarterbacks facing each other because of what they did, which was Rodgers versus Goff. And there's a lot more to say. We could go on all night. But yeah, college and pro, it's all scripted together. I mean, now that said, is every single game scripted? You might have me there. I don't know if every game's scripted, because even though we kill college football, there'll be a game or 2 each week. I mean, we'll get 15 of them right, but then there'll be 1 or 2 where we'll often miss, and I'll be like, okay, what went wrong in those games? It might not be that they weren't scripted. It might be that there was too much money on one side, so they had to flip the outcome, something like that. But it's very rare that we go totally perfect. We do it, but I mean, it's hard to go totally perfect, but we kill college football week after week, and we're always showing how it's synced up with the NFL. So, I mean, it's all scripted together.
What about pro basketball and baseball?
Oh
I mean,
my
it's all
God.
the same. I mean, LeBron James is completely satanic.
All pro sports, all the way.
I mean, it's all scripted. And again, just go back over the resume. I mean, we've murdered pro sports for over 7 years, college and pro, all sports. And I mean, just what more do you need to see? Brady goes, okay. When the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup, we had them winning on that day because we saw that day was 44 days. The day that they won it was 44 days after the Lightning burned up the Bay Area, which happened on August 15th, the Jesuit birthday. And by the way, did you guys see that Brady had 201 passing yards in the Super Bowl? The Jesuit Order 201, everything 201 this year, Event 201, the coronavirus outbreak simulation. But anyway, we knew the Lightning were going to win 44 days after that day because this is what they do. They sync up their weather warfare with sports. Again, I got the article written by Vice News making fun of me from years ago, showing how they sync up weather and sports, which everyone should know. Katrina and the Saints. And I mean, come on, when the Saints won the Super Bowl, who did the Saints beat for their first ever Super Bowl? Archie Manning's son. I mean, could it be any more obvious? You got to be brain dead. And
It's not just here in the U.S., guys. Like I told you, cricket and all over the world, it's rigged.
oh, absolutely.
Soccer or football to the Europeans.
Absolutely.
It's all rigged.
And
That could look at them and crush them the same way he's crushing.
well, and there's people who've learned from me who live over in Europe and are taking advantage of the Premier League and all the rigging they do over there. It's all the same. They use the same stuff worldwide. English is the language of the world. And for people who don't know, cricket was actually the first professional sports league in the U.S. too. Cricket's the roots of baseball, but
Yep.
yeah, so the Lightning win, and then we had the Dodgers facing the Braves in the NLCS before the season began, and the Braves winning the championship. I was barely off on the AL. We did see earlier in the year it might be Tampa through the Brady ritual. We should have went with that. Some people did, but anyway, the Dodgers won the World Series 4-2 on the anniversary of Jackie Robinson's funeral in the year that Mookie Betts got traded to the Dodgers on February 4th, 4-2. And Mookie Betts led the player protest, the Black Lives Matter protest, 42 days from his own birthday. And then they end up winning 4-2 on Jackie's birthday, and Jackie equals 42. I mean, there's so much to explain. From the day that the Dodgers beat Tampa Bay in the World Series, winning their 7th World Series, that was 103 days before Brady won the Super Bowl on 2-7. 103 is the 27th prime. And the Tampa Bay Lightning won the 103rd season of the NHL. So again, it's just all scripted together, undeniably.
So Charlie Ward, saying that stadiums are ritual energy extraction sites. I mean, you know that. You've said that forever.
Yeah.
It's the fallen angels, dudes, guys. I mean, again, if you go back to the ancient text, I'm sure those were corrupted too. But what was the one? The one that was found in 1948, right? I can't think of what it's called right now, but I have it right over here. But I mean, they tell you in the book that this is the third dimension is Lucifer's realm. This is the realm of Satan. He runs the show here. The fallen angels, the dark being, whatever you want to call them, and it's more obvious than it's ever been. I mean, sure, there are good people here, or good beings, or angels of light. They're interspersed, but it's a game, and the duality game is pretty much under the control of the dark side. Until, like you said, Zach, and Michael says, until we stop and we don't play the game anymore. We rise up and we say, enough.
Yep.
Enough.
Indeed.
There's not, like you guys said, there's not enough of us yet. That's the issue.
There's enough of us, definitely, but not enough weight.
Well, that's what I mean. But I mean, there's not enough of us at that point ready to rise up and stop this nonsense from.
It can happen overnight.
Yeah, just like Max Egan said. Remember, he said a nano blip.
Mm-hmm.
Literally a nano blip. Zach, dude, I love you, brother. You guys, again, GematriaEffect.News. Go to his site, sign up for his Patreon. You literally will make money. He's a winner in gambling and obviously a winner in life. And, dude, you're the man. Thank you so much for coming on our show tonight.
Thanks a lot, Zach.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Thanks for the show.
Okay, we'll see you soon, bro. You guys have a great weekend. Michael and I will be back on Sunday night in a Valentine's Day roundtable with Dr. Northrup, Jason Shurka, and Lori Ladd. That should be epic. And Michael, what do you have tomorrow?
Nothing tomorrow that I can think of. Maybe I do.
Okay, cool. So Sunday night. Good. You have a day off, bro. All right, guys. Love you guys. Everybody have a good night. Zach, please take care, brother.
All right, take care. Have a good night.
All right.
Sure.